Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Shift Podcast. I am Marquise Carroll alongside Guillermo Aquino, and we are back again for another episode of the podcast. And today we want to talk about security in the news. And you might kind of be wondering, what are we even talking about? But we'll lay a little groundwork here. So many years ago, one thing that people did not really care about or even hear about was security, cybersecurity, hackers. This was not a thing that was very prevalent in the news. But now you turn on your local news, you hear about a breach, you hear about people getting hacked, you hear about massive data leaks because of a hack or a breach. And these things are common in the news. But there's something that we have to be very transparent about, which is the news is built a certain way, and the news will put information out there, but it may have a little dramatization on it. It may kind of, stretch things a little bit to kind of insert fear into consumers, into businesses as well. And so today we want to address that a little bit, address when you see things in the news about security, what really is happening? Like what really happened? And so I'll start off with something, Guillermo, just to kind of lay a groundwork, and we can build on that. So you take for instance Equifax. Equifax had a big breach, right? Affected thousands, if not millions, of people, right? And the news put it out there. Equifax, hacked, and all this data is leaked, and all these different things. And you might think it was something, in the way the news put it, personified it. These things happen, and ransomware, and they put these logos on stuff and make it, really like big. A lot of times it's one open door, right? It's someone clicking on an email. It's someone on a link in an email. It's someone not patching a server, right? So by the time it makes it to the news, it's after the fact. It's already done, right? It's been done. And the impact to you is what you have to kind of understand, is that a breach gets to the news, and then the news puts all this stuff on it, and then it inserts fear, and then it makes you go buy, right? Buy tools, buy a new computer, find an IT person, and inserts fear. And so a lot of times when we look at the news, you have to kind of look at it from the right lens to understand, man, they must not have had a good, sort of setup. Because a lot of times they don't go into the detail, the technical detail of what really happened, but they'll go into the face value of the business, the reputation, all these different things. And so a lot of times when you're looking at that, consider that, right? Consider that when they're going into some of these things, by the time they get to it, it's done. And a lot of times when we have companies like ManagedTEK, different things like that, these individuals kind of come in and begin to build a plan to help protect you as best as you can from things like that happening. So a lot of times when that fear is kind of inserted, you have to remember, what do you have set up to help protect you from that. So Guillermo, I want to pass it to you and kind of get your thoughts about security in the news, and kind of how things are sort of portrayed about these breaches and different things like that.
Well, some of the things I've seen in the news, actually of late, was I think it was the city of Florida. They got ransomware, and the
Hmm.
whole city actually. And I'm not saying the whole city. I'm talking about the city services.
Yeah, government.
Yeah, so they got ransomware. That they shut down the city for a few weeks, and they were able to recover. And of course, that cost a lot of money. There's a definite financial impact to that. Um, and whatever records they may have stolen, they're I mean, some clients probably got, they probably got issues as well, because identity theft and everything else that comes from
Right.
that. But most security threats that I've seen, actually big in the news, have been insider threats,
Hmm.
from somebody actually just stealing information. Like you
Right.
said, the news definitely infatuates stuff. They make it bigger than what it is.
Hmm.
But there is a real threat too. It's real, that stuff that's happened. Identity theft is huge, and since COVID, it's gone up 600%. That
Right.
that's real. So
Hmm.
there is some real fear that should be there, but then there is, of course, they're selling their
Hmm.
newscasts.
Yep.
And it's just not like you see at Equifax. A lot of people, everybody, someone every day is getting breached.
Right.
And we're talking big boys. We're talking about
Hmm.
Sony. We're talking about eBay, LinkedIn, Target, even
Hmm.
the U.S. government.
Hmm.
Adobe's been breached. IRS,
Hmm.
Yahoo. I mean, all there's the list is very, very long, and every month there's a new company out there. There's a new hospital. There's somebody
Hmm.
getting breached. The thing about it is, a lot of the breaches that you hear about is maybe stolen information. And
Right.
what you have to do as a consumer is you have to get start taking control of your own security. be
Hmm.
be the owner of your security, and basically you know how to lock your security, as I think we did a podcast on that, how to lock
Hmm.
your security with all the bureaus,
Hmm.
how to understand what's happening in your bank account. You have to own this, you have to own
Right.
your security and take control, because you're giving your information to these people. And then have dark web monitoring as well.
Hmm.
Know if your passwords are out there, change your passwords, have a password policy for yourself. These are things you
Hmm.
can do as an individual, but the security threat is real, but then it's overplayed as well.
Right.
So so those are things you have to be aware of. It's just things you have to look into.
Absolutely. And I like what you said about owning your security. We have mentioned that for businesses as well as consumers, that that's something you have to do. And I know this is probably a little bit of a shorter segment, but it's something that we definitely want to address and kind of bring up because it's one of those things that the news is going to take advantage of those who aren't aware. And, in the future, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about how do you become more aware about security and just security awareness as a whole, as a consumer, as a business. That could be coming in the future. But for today, just as you see things, just put it in its right context. I think is all we're sort of alluding to. And as always, we appreciate you listening to our podcast. Again, we're just a couple of guys that have built companies to try to help people and try to make sure that people are secure and they know the right information. And as always, if you did like this video, leave us a thumbs up, comment, share the video, and let us know. Reach out to us on social media. As always, we appreciate your time. And wherever you may be in the world, we ask that you stay safe, and we see you next time. See you later.